Ex-Prince Andrew has been arrested at his temporary home, the Sandringham estate, on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Andrew has been held for his links to child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He is accused of misconduct in office as a trade envoy. He allegedly passed sensitive information to Epstein on investment opportunities, and sensitive briefings pressure had been mounting on the former prince and his ties with Epstein after 3 million pages of unseen emails, documents and pictures from the Epstein files were released. Disturbing photos of him on all fours touching a clothed woman's waist and stomach were also a part of the release. And well, I have with us John Beaver is now joining me live. John, first up, tell us, how significant is this? A former British royal being arrested, his ties with Epstein at this point of time. What is the royal family saying, and how monumental is this?
Yeah, this is a very big deal, of course, and although he's no longer Prince Andrew, he's Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, after the royal family got rid of all his official royal titles. He is, of course, still best known around the world for being King Charles's brother. So this is a huge moment for the royal family. It is by far and away the most significant step when it comes to any investigation relating to Jeffrey Epstein here in the UK. As you mentioned there, and as we should say again, the statement that was released by Thames Valley Police, who arrested Andrew at 8 o'clock this morning, local time here in the UK, they said he'd been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. So this is a very narrow investigation focusing on that issue. It is not related to these wider issues that have been levelled at a number of people. We must remind everyone, of course, that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has always said that he didn't do anything wrong. But the police said in that statement that following a thorough assessment, they have now opened an investigation into this allegation of misconduct in public office. So it is a step up in terms of their investigation. And what happens now is that Andrew will be being questioned by police. They have a set amount of time where they can continue to question him. And after that, they either have to release him to continue with their investigations, or they can charge him and actually formally put a charge to him, or they can apply for more time to question him. So that's what we're expecting to hear more about in the coming hours. In terms of what the royals have said, well, the king issued a statement saying that he was disturbed by what was happening, but very much that the police had to be able to do their job, that the law had to function as it is meant to in this country. They also said they wouldn't be commenting any further, and we've seen both the king and queen out and about today fulfilling their royal duties, and they have not responded to shouted questions about the arrest of the king's brother.
Right, John, you've given us a summary of where things stand and what we can expect right now. And a last question to you, what can we expect from the royal family right now? Because earlier, of course, in 2022 or 2021, the royal family had defended Andrew Mountbatten-Andrew, and King Charles' latest statement said that the law must take its course. So what kind of statements, what is the sentiment inside the royal family right now?
Yeah, certainly there were critics who said the royal family didn't act soon enough. Of course, the Queen was still on the throne at the time, Queen Elizabeth, Andrew's mother, and there were allegations and accusations that the royal family perhaps knew more than they were letting on and didn't act soon enough when it came to removing Andrew from public office, removing him from public life. That did, though, happen in the end, and he took very much a back seat when it came to the royals. We had that disastrous interview on the BBC, that Prince Andrew, as he was then, was widely criticised for. So yes, we've seen all of that, and of course all of those accusations and rumours swirl around, all very damaging for the royal family. But a reminder that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, as he is now, is being investigated and has been arrested very narrowly on this charge of possible misconduct in public office. So that's what the police are looking at, and we expect to hear more in the coming hours as to where this investigation goes next.
Right, thanks very much, John, for joining us here on Newsnight from London. All right, in a seismic blow to the British establishment, the Epstein scandal has claimed its highest profile scalp yet. The former Prince Andrew, who was stripped of his titles, is now facing the full force of the law. On his 66th birthday, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor was arrested on charges of betraying his public duties by leaking secrets to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. From top ministers to now a member of the royal family, Prime Minister Starmer's administration is on the edge.
By the Thames Valley Police. The charges: suspicion of misconduct in public office. It all started with the Epstein files. Emails show him forwarding information such as official visit reports packed with sensitive commercial and political information with Epstein, breaching security laws. Andrew's association with Epstein dates back to the 1990s, with frequent trips to Epstein's infamous property. In 2022, amid the fallout of his sex crime suit, Queen Elizabeth stripped Andrew of his military titles and patronages. By 2025, he was stripped of his royal titles entirely. However, the rot spreads far beyond the gates of the palaces. Peter Mandelson, Starmer's pick for ambassador to the US, has shaken the Labour government to the core. Emails revealed that Mandelson leaked crisis-era secrets as business secretary to Epstein, including the Euro bailouts in 2010 and plans for 20 billion in asset sales in 2009, among others. Mandelson was first sacked in September of 2025 and then asked to quit from the party and the House of Lords earlier this month.
I regret making the decision to have appointed him in the first place. Had I known at the time what I know now, or knew in September, I'd have never done it. And that's why today I've apologised for the fact that I appointed him in the first place and I believed his lies.
The Epstein saga is far from over. Britain watches in horror, waiting and wondering who's next.
All right, former Prince Epstein's connection. Let's now tell you about former Prince Andrew's connection with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So now, in late 1990s, Epstein and Andrew frequently were seen in high-profile parties. Then, in 1999, Andrew visited Epstein's private island, Little St. James. In 2001 then, Epstein victim Virginia Joffrey accused the former Prince Andrew of sexual abuse. In 2002, Andrew reportedly gave Epstein tour of Buckingham Palace. In July 2006 then, Epstein attended a high-profile masked ball at Windsor Castle. In 2019, Andrew admitted that he first met Epstein in 1999. Let's now tell you more about how Epstein is on the West and all the people who have come under this. Number one, Bill Clinton, the former US president. Then we have Stephen Hawking, renowned physicist, and Donald Trump, the US president. Apart from them, we also have Bill Gates, co-founder Microsoft, Michael Jackson, singer, and Elvis Presley, who is again a singer. We also have Kevin Spacey, who is an actor, Elon Musk, founder Tesla and SpaceX. Then we have Sergey Brin, co-founder Google. There's more to this list. Casey Weserman, CEO, Weserman Media Group. And that's next page. We're talking about Casey Weserman, who is also on Epstein on the West. Well, these are all the people who have come under the radar as the Epstein files fallout continues to haunt the West. Let's tell you more about this. Once dubbed as Randy Andy, Prince Andrew, the ex-Prince Andrew, has been arrested, facing renewed scrutiny over his ties to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Our next report giving you a timeline of the former Duke of York's fall from royal privilege to public disgrace, marking an unprecedented low for the British monarchy. Take a look. The former Duke of York has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office and also amid renewed scrutiny over his links to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The arrest marks the most legal escalation in a scandal that has shadowed the British family for years. Known as Andy Randy, a nickname coined by the British press due to his reputation as a young bachelor, Prince Andrew's fall from grace has reached an extraordinary new low as he becomes the first member of the UK royal family to be arrested. In the 1990s, the former prince developed close ties with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and was introduced to Epstein's close circles and frequented Epstein's high-profile parties. However, despite Epstein being convicted in 2008, Andrew was photographed with Epstein in 2010. At that time, there was little immediate consequence, but the optics resurfaced years later. In 2015, Virginia Jeffrey formally accused Prince Andrew of sexual assault in a 2015 sworn affidavit, alleging that she was trafficked to him by Jeffrey Epstein in the early 2000s when she was only 17. However, Andrew publicly denied the allegation, and the Buckingham Palace also issued strong denials on his behalf. This is not the first time that Prince Andrew has been a source of embarrassment for the monarchy. There's more. In a television interview in 2019, Prince Andrew vehemently defended his friendship with Epstein and failed to express any sympathy for his victims, further humiliating the family. Days after the interview, Andrew announced that he would step back from public duties for the foreseeable future. The Buckingham Palace announced that Andrew will suspend all public duties and was removed from patronage for over 230 charities. Andrew was also stripped of his military and his Royal Highness titles in 2022. Queen Elizabeth II removed Andrew's honorary military roles and royal patronages. However, he retained his status as a prince and the Duke of York. Weeks later, Andrew reached an out-of-court settlement with Jeffrey without admitting liability. The case ended, but the damage did not. Because in 2025, there were reports that emerged which said that Andrew sent Epstein Christmas cards in 2011, which clearly contradicted his earlier claims of no contact after 2010. In 2015, King Charles III formally stripped Andrew of all royal titles, including Prince and His Royal Highness. This stern action followed months of mounting scrutiny over Andrew's ties to Epstein. And with the latest arrest, Andrew's legal and reputational troubles have entered a new phase. Well, we have some breaking news for at this point of time. US President Donald Trump has said that the world will find out over the next probably 10 days whether the US will reach a deal with Iran or take military action. At the inaugural meeting of his Board of Peace in Washington, D.C., Trump said, "We have some work to do in coming to an agreement with Iran about its nuclear program and that we may have to take it a step further." In recent days, the US has surged military forces to West Asia, while progress was also reported at talks between American and Iranian negotiators in Switzerland. Before we go across to Disha to tell us more, take a listen to what Trump said.
We may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days. We do have some work to do with Iran. They can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. You can't have peace in the Middle East if they have a nuclear weapon. And they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they've been told that very strongly. They must make a deal. Or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen if it doesn't.
Disha, there the US President Donald Trump has issued an ultimatum to Iran saying that US will have to make tough decisions. How do you see the situation panning out with tensions only simmering between both the countries?
Right, Raisha. So, US President Trump again issuing an ultimatum to Iran, this time a 10-day deadline, saying that if Iran doesn't make a deal within the next 10 days, he's going to have to look at US military strikes. Now, this is not the first time he's issued such an ultimatum. Remember, before the previous US strikes in Iran last year, he issued a similar 10-day ultimatum. But in fact, within days, we saw that the US in fact struck nuclear and military strikes in Iran. So, the big question really is this again a bluff by the US president, and could we see an attack by the US on Iran this weekend? Because that is what many reports were suggesting, given the amount of US military the military armada that has now reached and surrounded essentially Iran. We have those aircraft carriers, we have 50 plus fighter jets all nearing and basically surrounding Iran in a sense, all waiting essentially for US President Trump's final decision whether he chooses to take military action or there is some sort of deal or negotiation or diplomacy essentially takes the forward step. But that's really the big question. War clouds are definitely looming over Iran, and it's all a wait and watch thing to see now, because remember the talks between Iran and US are ongoing, which is one differentiating factor from what happened last year when the strikes took place in roughly June last year. This time there are talks ongoing between Iran and US officials regarding the nuclear program. So really it's a wait and watch scene.
Absolutely, Disha. We'll have to see how the next few days pan out, but thanks for getting us the latest right now, Disha. Staying on with the story now, amid escalating tensions with Iran, the US President Donald Trump has issued an ultimatum against Iran, saying that he will take a decision on Iran within the next 10 days, urging Iran to make a deal or bad things will happen. Reports earlier suggested that the US military is prepared to strike Iran as soon as this weekend, but Trump has not yet made a final decision about whether he'll authorize such actions or not. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu too issued a warning to Tehran's leaders should they fire missiles at Israel, saying that Israel's response will be unimaginable.
הגורמים הקיצוניים מסרבים לוותר. הם מתארגנים מחדש כדי לאתגר אותנו מחדש. איננו נחים על זרי הדפנה. אנחנו ערוכים ודרוכים להגן על עצמנו מול כל אתגר. אנחנו פועלים בצמידות עם בעלת בריתנו הגדולה ארצות הברית. הבהרתי לידידי הנשיא טראמפ את העקרונות שלדעת ישראל צריכים להנחות כל משא ומתן עם איראן. אנחנו ערוכים לכל תרחיש. ודבר אחד בטוח, אם האייתולות יטעו ויתקפו אותנו, הם יחוו תגובה שהם אפילו לא יכולים להעלות בדעתם.
Well, the moment when global leaders and tech honchos came together for a family photo at India AI Summit is going viral. What was hard to miss was the awkwardness which was witnessed on stage, involving two AI giants, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei. During a rare simultaneous appearance, Altman and Amodei were seen hesitating. They were reluctant to hold each other's hand. That's during the hand raise moment. They instead raised their fist up in the air, refusing to hold hands. Remember, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei once worked at OpenAI and decided to be a part ways over OpenAI's approach to AI safety. Our next report telling you more.
An awkward moment at the group photograph at the India AI Impact Summit in New Delhi, capturing the Cold War in the AI universe. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei choosing raised fists instead of holding hands. As Prime Minister Modi and several executives joined hands and raised them together, a gesture typically seen as symbolic of unity, Altman and Amodei lifted their fists separately. The two executives representing fiercely competing AI companies appeared briefly unsure before settling on the gesture, drawing amused reactions online.
Thank you, tech leaders.
When AGI, the day Dario and Sam hold hands. Puck AI founder Siddharth Bhatia wrote, "The very obvious exchange underscores the growing rivalry between OpenAI, led by Sam Altman, and Anthropic, headed by Dario Amodei. Anthropic was founded in 2021 by former OpenAI executives, including Amodei, who previously served as OpenAI's Vice President of Research. The split reflected differing philosophies around AI safety, governance, and commercial strategy. While the two tech titans may not see eye to eye or hold hands, one thing they both agree on is India and its AI leap.
The energy and ambition in this room and across India are incredible. I've been spending the last few days meeting with Indian builders and enterprises, and the energy to build together here is palpable, unlike anywhere else.
India, the world's largest democracy, is well positioned to lead in AI, not just to build it, but to shape it and decide what our future is going to look like. And India is also the fastest growing market now for Codex, our coding agent that works to help people develop software faster and better."
NDTV Bureau Report.